Welcome back, everyone. I am Zell, and today we're going to get our first look at the Reinhold Rhino. Oh boy, guys. Well, the Reinhold Rhino. It has been a long awaited from Spyderco. I don't know, what are we at? Like a year and a half or something since announcement? Maybe longer. And the Rhino finally came out right at Blade Show 2018. This one showed up about a week later, and it's a pretty good one. If I remember correctly, this one was courtesy of Knife Center, and these things run about 130 bucks. And I'm gonna, man, if I can get you in here just a little bit, we can get a good look at this thing. And guys, it really is a looker. And you know, whenever you initially look at the Rhino and you see the way it's shaped, you're probably thinking, nope, not for me. Well, we'll get to that here in a minute. First, let's get a look at what we got on the outside. We've got a carbon fiber texture, and if I remember correctly, that is a peel ply or whatever cover over G10. I will check right quick just to be sure. Yep. Blade HQ tells us that it is carbon fiber over G10. Still looks pretty good, and G10, it appears the G10 they're using is some of the pretty rigid stuff, so should make things stay really well together. And, you know, we got a standard Spyderco pocket clip. Maybe slightly smaller, I don't know. Well, surely we've got a... I don't have a Delica, I'm sorry. Not one that has a regular pocket clip anyhow. But looks like it might be a little smaller than a regular Delica pocket clip. But really big on this knife. And I can't tell you how well it works because I have not used the clip on this knife. In fact, if I were to carry this knife every day, that clip would come off and go in the clip box. Because it is a small knife, don't need a pocket clip. It's nice that they put them on there for those of you that want to use them, and it's nice that they put them on there with screws so that I can take them off. Let's see, what else we got? We got a lanyard hole. Everything is nicely chamfered. That lanyard hole is in Spyderco tradition. It's sleeved, so very nice there, except for whenever you want to take this thing apart, that's going to be a pain in the rear because they flare the ends of those lanyard tubes just enough to make them a real pain in the rear. We've got standard Spyderco hardware. We'll grab our tools and see what we got there. That's a T8, and I bet I need a T6. Yep. So we have a T6. We get the Weehaw up here. And there we go. And Spyderco's using some good stuff. That, for stainless screws... Yeah, that one's a little bit not quite as good. Let's see what the pivot comes out like. Go back to our T8 maybe. Yes. And yeah, not as tight as they could be, but you know, it's stainless screws, and Spyderco does a good job with their screws. That needs to be a little snugger. There we go. For stainless screws, Spyderco does well. Now, just like we've said 100 times now, you can't really compare the stainless screws with the self-made screws of some of the other companies, because whenever you're buying stuff off the shelf, you just don't have control over it like you do whenever you're making it in-house, and you can make your thread pitches perfect, and you can make the heads any size you want them, and you know, etc. But overall, so what's the big deal about the knife? Well, I don't know, we're probably 3 or 4 minutes in. We haven't even really talked about what the big deal about the knife is. First off, we have the compression lock. And that compression lock is in there really tight. You can see the ricasso area of the knife right there. So that is in really tight, and it means this isn't going to be a knife that you're going to flick closed real well. Not all the way closed anyhow, because if you have your finger in here with the compression lock bar, it can't go all the way closed because it'll bounce off your thumb or bounce off your finger. Not going to work. But the compression lock does provide a very good locking system, even if it's not one of my favorites. For those of you that do like it, it is a great locking system. And even if you don't like it, it's still a great locking system. It's just not your preference. And as much as I'm not a compression lock guy, I am glad to see companies using locks besides your normal liner and frame locks in some knives. Don't get me wrong, I love the liner locks and the frame locks whenever they're done right, but it's just nice to see compression locks, bolt locks, ball locks, access locks, etc. Because, it's just nice to have variety out there. And, just like any other compression lock, there you go. That's how it works. And the other big deal is this is a small knife with CTS XHP. And very much an odd handle shape and an odd blade shape. It's got that swept back Persian blade shape, just made me wonder what in the world is going on. And I'm still not going to tell you about it because we need to look at the blade. We'll get to that in ergonomics. And look at that little blade. It's one of the things that Spyderco does so simply but so well is grind those blades. And there is nothing fancy whatsoever about that full flat grind. Zero fancy, nothing. But they do it so well. And it always looks so good. Now it is a nearly all belly. There's a little bit of flat here, but not much. Got our spider hole. Nearly all belly and definitely a bit of a trailing point technically. And it's made out of CTS XHP. Can't ask for much more than that in Taichung, Taiwan. So, good one. All right. So mechanically, I'm putting you off again. Mechanically, we are running on bushings, phosphor bronze bushings. It's essentially the same pivot. I don't know if you guys can see down in there very well, but it's essentially the same pivot that's on a PM2 or this was a Sage 5 with the compression lock or a PM3. It's just scaled to fit this particular knife. And there you go. Everything works great. All right, here we go. The ergonomics, it looks like it'd be weird, right? My God, look at that, all them curves and hooks. And yeah, it's definitely should be weird, huh? Well, here's what was a revelation to me whenever I put it in my hand. Whenever you put it in your hand, you get this pistol grippy thing, and everything works out. It just freaking works. Now, why? Well, it's just good design. Very, very good design. Now, you do have a point here, a little bit of a point here. They fit my hands well. I'm suspecting they'll fit smaller hands very well. If you've got really big hands, this knife is short. And we're going to do some measurements real quick for you guys because this is a first look. We really don't have any measurements done. So we're at, if I can keep from knocking too much stuff over, about 2.36. That's a rough measurement for the blade length. About 6 inches overall length. And then our handle, our grip area, that's going to be important on this one because it's such a small knife. And I'm going to measure about halfway up that choil to the back, or halfway up the back of the blade here. It's a little bit of a choil ramp thing. And we're just under 3 inches. So I've got medium-large hands. If you go to large hands, I mean, look, it's almost a perfect fit in my hands. So if you go to really big hands, it's not going to work. And this is also a knife that is not really meant to be gripped here because of the hook of the handle, the pistol grip style handle. Works great on your push cuts. Is going to work better than a small knife like this should in your reverse grip. Got a spider hole, so your pinch grips are going to be kick butt no matter what. And this one isn't a free dropper yet, but it just came out of the box just a couple of days ago. So there you go. It will Spidey flick open. And left-handed, it will middle finger flick open. And overall, guys, so far, I think the Rhino is going to be a good one. Now, is it a knife that you should be considering? Well, guys, we're going to do a roundup of a bunch of small knives, under 3-inch blade knives, and the Rhino's kind of in the middle of the pack. And I think you're going to want to watch that video before you start making decisions. But anyhow, guys, this has been the Reinhold Rhino, a first look. You guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit us up over at theapexnews.com and watch our weekly Apex News. That's where we talk about all the news from the previous week, every week, right here on the Zelrick YouTube channel. And you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.